Mars will be in the debilitation sign of Cancer from the 20th of October till mid of or almost the third week of January. So this is a time when, because it's a long duration of Mars being in its debilitation sign in Cancer, go retrograde and go direct again, but at least for this entire duration from 20th of October till 21st of Jan. So through these almost 3 months, it is going to be remaining in this debilitation sign of Cancer. So it's important how Mars, by virtue of what houses it rules for different rising signs, will play its role in giving you different results, especially because it is going to be under the 5th aspect of Rahuuuu.
Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend Astrologer and Guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. As we were just introducing our topic, Mars being in the debilitation of sign of Cancer, for different rising sign by virtue of its rulership, will play a different impact. Because it gets debilitated, obviously it's not going to be an easy time for some of its results, where its house rulership is concerned and where Rahu aspects it, and where it is placed in the sign of Cancer in a house pertaining to your rising sign. So let's jump in and see how Mars placement in Cancer by virtue of what houses it rules, where it aspect, and being in the aspect of Rahu will play different results for us for each rising sign. So for Aries rising sign people, Mars rules the 1st house and the 8th house, and it will be in the sign of Cancer and debilitation in the 4th house. So obviously it's going to impact the 8th house results of suddenness, turbulence, challenges, problems, secrets, as well as those issues where you can also get some unsaid results, sudden results, maybe even good results, as well as the lagna, the health, the stature, the designation, and your overall placement in society. So these results may bear fruit of some challenges because Mars is placed in debilitation and in the 4th house, which means some of the domestic matters may also create an impact on your life concerning your health, your standing in society, and certain issues may also crop up. And there is a chance that you may be misled because of Rahu's 5th aspect on Mars in matters concerning your domestic life, your home life, conveniences, property, assets. So you need to be careful of how you sign documents, what papers you are going to sign as well. Then, because Mars is going to aspect with its 8th aspect, the 11th house of wishes and desires, while being in debilitation, so some of those plans which you are thinking of taking forth, or you're thinking that there may be some gains coming in, may also run into challenges. Some of you may also face challenges with some of your friends or network circle. So be a little careful of miscommunication, because you may get into an ugly confrontation with some of your friends. Then Mars 7th aspect on the 10th house of your career, work. So sometimes domestic affairs may take over, because of which your work may suffer. Some of you may not keep good health because the Lord of the Lagna is getting into the 4th house in debilitation. So a lot of time may be spent either in domestic affairs, maybe even the health of mother may be a concern, but domestic affairs or health or dedicating more time to your domestic matters may affect your career, or some of you may bring more work home also. So keep this in mind. Then Mars 4th aspect will be on your 7th house of your relationship, on the sign of Libra. So here be careful of what relationships you get into, what new relations you are initiating, because Mars rules the 4th house of domestic life and aspecting the 7th house of Libra. So some of you may either get into a relationship or commit to a relationship which may not be a long-term good prospect for you. So be very careful because of one suddenness of issues, domestic life getting affected, health getting affected, sound decision making getting affected, career getting affected, and partnerships also getting affected, especially because the 7th house is not only the house of your conjugal relation, marital life, but also relationships. So overall, there may be some gains coming in from unset quarters. Maybe for some of you, very few of you, there may even be gains But be careful overall in this period. Don't be misled by people. Don't get into miscommunication. Take care of your health. Take care of your home environment. Take care of your assets. Be careful of where you sign papers. Drive carefully. Otherwise, there may be a breakdown of vehicles. There may even be some small challenges also while you're driving. So be careful, because this may also lead to small accidents. For very rare of you, maybe even slightly severe ones. So be a little careful. And on the career front, be a little careful of how you deal with supervisors, with authority figures, because some sudden issues, because of you not being able to deal well with your team, can end up being escalated to your superiors also. And also, some of your plans may take a backseat. So do your due diligence before you plan any trips, going out for parties, making any plans for even investments. Now for Taurus rising sign people, Mars rules your 12th house and Mars rules your 7th house. And now getting into debilitation in the 3rd house of effort. So any effort that you're doing in terms of long distance travel to foreign lands, or some of you applying for roles in constabulary, some of you related to the healthcare industry, those plans may get affected, as well as those people who are in an individual role. For example, you're working in an IT organization and here you are an individual role rather than a team role. There your efforts may not come good as much as a team role may be, because your Mars also rules the 7th house of partnership, of team, as well as relationship. If you have kept a relationship under wraps, especially connected to work, because Mars is also aspecting with its eighth aspect the 10th house of career, and if you have a relationship in work which you have hidden, then that may not give you good efforts. That may come out in the open, and there may also be misunderstandings because of Rahu's 5th aspect on Mars in the 3rd house of communication. But the 3rd house is also the house of self-effort. So those people who are doing their own work, have their own enterprise, have their own practices, they may also run into challenges. If you have a partnership which you're working with like-minded colleagues, then be really careful of where you're putting in the efforts, what you're saying, what you're committing. Some short distance travels may also be not be fruitful. So some people may tell you to travel to another place and then give a presentation or to supply things, and the last minute the communication may falter, you may be misled, there may be a misunderstanding, and that short trip may go waste. So be a little careful, because Mars rules the 12th house of waste and excess, getting into the 3rd house of effort in debilitation. So in partnerships and connecting with career roles in the 12th house, misunderstandings, missed opportunities may also be the highlight of the day. This is also important, as I just said, Mars with its 8th aspect is aspecting the 10th house of career. So being misled in your career, being misled because of which you take up a role or take up an initiative which may be wasted efforts for you. So do your due diligence before you take up any effort, before you take up any responsibility, because you may even be misled into taking up a role and opportunity where you're doomed for failure. Then because Mars 7th aspect is on the 9th house of long distance travel, also of higher studies, those people who are trying to go into foreign universities, travel for foreign lands, or get into high universities specifically connected to engineering, be a little careful and do your due diligence even in IT, because Mars aspect is both on the 9th house as well as your 10th house of career, and rules the 12th house of waste and excess. Some of you may do very well if you have made your plans in advance, if you're prepared very well, because Mars 7th aspect is on the 9th house, but in a sign where it gets exalted. So your educational effort may come good. However, Mars 4th aspect is on the Libra sign in the 6th house of enemies, inimical forces. So if you don't keep into account what is the competition, what are the forces acting behind your back, then you may do actions or take initiatives or say something or do something or communicate, because of which the animosity increases. The challenges with pertaining to people not being working with you or not being congruent with you or not agreeing with you may be higher. So people may try to put a spanner in your work. So be careful how you communicate, how you deal with competitive forces. If you're sitting for competitive exams specifically connected to getting into higher universities, higher educational institutes, or connected to career, like people giving competitive exams to get into UPSC or something else, there you may find a challenge because effort is getting into debilitation. So on the overall, be a little careful how you take decisions specifically connected to competition, education and career, and not to be misled in social situations and not to get into a misunderstanding with very close friends. Now for Gemini rising sign people, Mars rules the 11th house and Mars rules the 6th house. So here your work, your career, inimical forces as well as the 11th house of desires is getting into debilitation into the 2nd house of income. So any desires for higher income, any efforts to get higher income may not give you best fruits of your labor, specifically connected to career. Because the career house and the house of wishes and desires getting into the 2nd house and debilitation in Cancer sign. So income, if you are expecting higher income, if you wish and desire for higher income coming from your career, so that may be a spanner at least for the next 3 months. This is also important because the Rahuu's 5th aspect is on Mars. So in terms of your career, you may take a decision hoping that the next role is of higher designation but higher money. So don't take decisions concerning career only for money or higher income or higher salary, because that may not be the best thing for you. Do your due diligence before you take up any career role, specifically if the higher motivation is for salary. Then because Mars also rules your 6th house of career or work or service, so those people who are in service, they need to be more careful than those people who are in business. Those people who are working with family, they are also advised to be careful of how you deal with your family members, how you deal with your dependents or extended family, because if you're working with them, then there may be some miscommunication because of which the relationship may be spoiled, especially if those are cousins or an uncle, aunt or maternal family members as well. This is also important because Mars 7th aspect is on the 8th house of suddenness. So your actions may bring about a sudden challenge in your earning, in your livelihood, in your career, by being misled or taking decisions which will not be good for you. This is also critical because Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra in the 5th house of romance. So sometimes suddenly, because of flare up in your relationship, you may say something or do something or be more aggressive in your relationship. So the romantic liaison may also not be good. Some of you, because of you being very busy at work or doing some projects, may not be able to give enough time to your romantic relationship, and because of which there may be an argument and there may be sudden even breakup may come by. So be very, very careful during this period, because the 8th aspect of Mars is on the 9th house of long distance travel. So some of you may even travel long distance to do some work connected to career or even give a career interview. Some of you may plan to give a career interview or even give an interview or plan to go long distance for education to foreign lands, because Rahu is in the 10th house but in the Pisces sign. So if you are taking a decision to get into higher universities or higher qualifications because you feel that will be good for you in the long run in terms of career or income, so do your due diligence before you take that decision. Now for Cancer rising sign people, Mars rules the 10th house and Mars also rules the 5th house. So Mars is a very strong yoga karaka for Cancer rising sign people, but it is going to be in the Lagna, where your health, your stature in society, your decision making, your standing in society, all will get affected in terms of wrong decisions or aggressive decisions or wrong initiatives taken connected to career. This is important because Mars also rules the 5th house, which is the 8th house to the 10th house of career. So wrong decision taken in terms of career, because of which your stature suffers, your reputation in society suffers, your reputation at work suffers. Some of you may also get into a wrong romantic liaison or connection at work, because of which your reputation suffers, because of which your health also suffers, or overstraining at work may make you also fall sick. So be very careful, specifically connected to office romances or bringing a higher work or getting into higher responsibilities if you're not able to take care of them. This is important because Rahu's fifth aspect is on Mars in the Lagna. So being misled because Rahu is placed in the Pisces sign. So those people who are working in MNCs, multinational corporations, foreign lands, foreign companies, you may take a decision connected to career and it may not be the right decision. Your reputation may suffer, your stature may suffer, and your standing in the organization may also suffer. So be very, very careful. As I said, Mars also rules the fifth house, which is the eighth house to the 10th house of career. So sudden transformation, sudden change. But the sudden change or transformation may also come from an out of the blue offer coming to you for work from foreign land or from a MNC or from a different company, even within the same country if you're working, but in a foreign company or from a foreign company or organization, there may be a work offer which you are assuming will be good for your career, but may not be good for your career because you may make a change in your career, but eventually it may not be good. So do your due diligence very, very well before you take up any opportunities. Now this is also important because Mars 8th aspect is on the 8th house in the sign of Aquarius. So which also means that you will try to be very creative, very innovative with respect to your career because Mars rules the 10th house, and because of which you may create unnecessary issues, challenges, upheavals in your career. Mars 4th aspect is on the 10th house, on the 4th house in the sign of Libra, which means sometimes because of what is transpiring in your work, you may end up being more aggressive at home, in your domestic life, and you may come down heavily on your family members, on your spouse, on your children, or your romantic liaison, or even family which is even connected to parents. So be a little careful where siblings, parents, spouse, children are concerned, because this can be a little tough time period for you. This is more concerning with spouse more than anybody else because both 4th and the 7th houses involved. Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra in the 4th house, but Mars 7th aspect is on the 7th house. So sudden issues related to your marital life, because of which some misunderstanding happens, and then you get aggressive at work or aggressive in your relationship also. This is also related to work because the 7th house is also the house of team partnerships. Be a little careful of how you are dealing with people, especially those people who are team members, because a miscommunication may mislead you because of Rahu's 5th aspect, that you may take a wrong decision. However, still, if you are on a good rapport with team members, and if you are doing a due diligence, one good offer may come your way, and you don't know, it may also end up being a good offer, but which may need you to move away from your current home, or displacement of your current home may also come by for you. Now for Leo rising sign people, Mars rules the 9th house and Mars also rules the 4th house. So even for Leo rising people, Mars is a strong yoga karaka. However, Mars has gone in debilitation, but in the 12th house of waste and excess, which means those decisions which you take connected to higher education or assets or investments or conveniences, buying things for home or buying vehicles, may lead to a waste of effort, where you may end up either paying too much money, because the 12th house is the house of excess also, wasteful expenditure, wasteful effort and excess. So you may end up paying much more money for those conveniences, or you may buy something and there may be some challenge with it, and because of repairs you may end up spending too much money. On insurance you may spend up too much money. Why insurance? Because Rahu is placed in the 8th house of insurance, taxation, audits, and is aspecting Mars with his 5th aspect in the 12th house of waste and excess. So being misled into taking a decision concerning assets, property, land, conveniences, vehicles, and end up taking a decision which you end up spending more money. So be a little careful. People who are working in those organizations which are connected to taxation, audits, IT, they may do very well. They may even get an offer to go abroad. However, because Mars gets debilitated in the 12th house, be careful of what kind of decision you are taking, because Mars also rules the 9th house of long distance travel. So being misled into an offer and going abroad, but not doing well. But if you do your due diligence very well, which means the first few months may be a challenging period for you, but once Mars goes direct, that offer may be also good offer for you. Now Mars 7th aspect is on the 6th house of competition, enemy. So some hidden forces behind your back may spoil your long distance plan also, or may create trouble at work, or connected to your domestic life as well. Why work? Because it is the 6th house of work or career. Why domestic life? Because Mars rules the 4th house. So sometimes work related challenges may create issues at home also, specifically connected to your conjugal life or marital life, because Mars 8th aspect of sudden upheavals is on the 7th house, and Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra in the 3rd house. So unnecessarily challenged because of some people misleading or saying something, or you hearing something about your spouse or your partner and you getting into an altercation for that. This is more related to those who are in a romantic relationship and are thinking of committing to someone. And then because of being misled, not taking that decision. So be a little careful of what kind of decision you're taking, whether you're committing to somebody or you're taking the relationship forward. Now for Virgo rising sign people, Mars rules the 8th house and Mars also rules the 3rd house of effort. So here Mars is getting into the debilitation sign in the 11th house of wishes and desires, social network. So on one hand, this means that your efforts to have any social life may take a backseat. You may be in isolation, you may want to be alone, you may not feel very good, you may not have any friends. You may spend some time maybe with siblings, because the 3rd house, Lord Mars is getting into the 11th house, but in debilitation. So be a little careful of what kind of time you're spending with siblings or misunderstandings with them. What you say to them in anger or miscommunicate, or they say something which leads to misunderstanding, and that may spoil relation. This is important because Rahu's 5th aspect from the 7th house is on the 11th house. So which means you may be misled of how you're treating a partner, how you're treating somebody who either you're in a relationship with or thinking about getting into a relationship with, which means Mars may, Rahu may mislead you in either being over social with them or being less social with them or being cut off from them. So which means your wishes and desires may not come good because of Rahu misleading how you treat your marital life, specifically if that partner is coming from foreign land, because Rahu is in the Pisces sign in the 7th house. So how you deal with somebody who is in a foreign land, or if your spouse is in foreign lands, then be careful of how you deal with them, how you communicate with them, because some misunderstanding may lead to unnecessary issues. This could also mean that some friend of yours from foreign land creates a misunderstanding between you and your spouse, or some sibling creates a misunderstanding between you and your spouse or would-be partner or somebody who you're engaged with. So that is important. And because Mars rules the 8th house of suddenness and going into the 11th house of wishes and desires, so some of your wishes and desires connected to career may take more time rather than come good immediately. Why career? Because Mars 7th aspect is on the 5th house. The 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So taking a decision connected to career without thinking may not give you good results in the future. So be very careful of what kind of change you bring about in your career, what new job you take up, do your due diligence. This is also important because Mars 8th aspect is on the 6th house of service, career. So anybody who is connected to serving other people, doctors, engineers, lawyers, people who work in spa, all those people should be careful of what kind of decisions you take. Other thing is, because of being too emotionally challenged or being too cold in your emotions, in your romantic liaison, thinking of that person almost as an enemy to you, or keeping the person or not treating the person well, or treating the person as an enemy, your romantic liaison may also suffer. So be a little careful, because Mars 3rd house of communication, of marketing, branding is getting into debilitation in the 11th house. So overall, also because Mars 4th aspect is on your 2nd house of income, saving, so you may, because of Mars placement and debilitation, you may continue to eat into your savings because of how you are taking care of your income, of your livelihood. So be a little careful of how much money you're spending and how you're spending, and also how much money you're spending on your loved ones. You may end up overspending on a loved one which may not be needed, and because of which you end up spending too much. Then for Libra sign, rising sign people, Mars rules the 7th house and Mars also rules the 2nd house of income, livelihood. And Mars is going into debilitation in the 10th house in Cancer sign. So here it means that those connections, those partnerships at work which are connected to teamwork, those may get affected. And this is important because Rahu's fifth aspect from the 6th house of service is on Mars in the 10th house. So your income, your livelihood may suffer, your ability to get a high increment may suffer. So if you're pushing for promotions, don't be too aggressive, because you may be misled that you may get a promotion, you may get a growth, and that may not happen. Increment may not happen. If you're thinking of changing your job, changing your career, by change of career, because Mars 8th aspect is on the 5th house. The 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So change in career, expecting high income to come, higher money to be coming in, can be tricky, because Rahu may mislead you into taking a decision connected to service, and that may be not the best of decisions, specifically connected to a foreign company, foreign consulting firm, or a multinational corporation. This is also important because Mars 4th aspect is on the Lagna, which is also your thinking ability, how you think, how you take your decision, but in the sign of Libra. So somebody who you know may influence you take a wrong decision, which may also be a superior or earlier superior or early authority figure, earlier manager, because of which you end up taking a career decision which may not be good for you in the long term, also not be good for you from your income perspective. And be also careful how you treat your domestic affairs, specifically connected to investments, connected to moving house, reconstructing house, investing in house, doing up your house, because you end up spending too much money because of some emotional thing. Mother said something, wife said something, children said something. So buying a house, buying a vehicle, doing up the house, because that may be a wasteful expenditure, because Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra. Relationships are getting you to take a wrong decision. And also on the romantic front, some of you may, if you're thinking of getting into a married life or getting engaged, rethink, because Rahu's 5th aspect is on your on Mars. So if you're taking a decision in a hurry, specifically assuming that your romantic partner may help you in earnings or may support you into taking care of the home affairs later on, that may not be good. That person may not be even thinking of working long term, or that person may not be drawing as much income, or may not draw as much income in the future. So be a little careful while Mars remains in the 10th house of what kind of decision you're taking on the romantic liaison front, as well as on the career front. So if you're taking a new role, thinking that role may help you to increase your income and you may be able to do something better for the home front, then that may be misled. Somebody in a competitive circle who don't like you, or they are enemies behind your back, may mislead you into taking a decision either related to career, or mislead you or talk ill behind your back, or fill your ears about your romantic partner, because of which emotionally, because Cancer is the sign of emotion, you may be misled and take a wrong decisions. So overall, this is a slightly tricky period for Libra rising sign people, because Mars is placed in one Kendra house, aspecting 2 other Kendra house and 1 trine house, and from the 6th house, Rahu's 5th aspect is on Mars. So be a little careful, do your due diligence, work hard, and play a waiting game. Then you may be in better standing. Then for Scorpio rising sign people, Mars rules the 6th house and Mars also rules the Lagna. And Mars is now getting into debilitation in the 9th house of experiences, experiential learning, higher education, long distance travel, working with different cultures across the boundaries. So this means that in terms of service, you if you're working in an MNC or planning to go abroad, or planning to join an educational institute, or take up a higher learning, or join a workshop, or get a higher degree, then be very careful. Do your due diligence before you take the decision, because that may not give you the high status, or that may not be the best decision to make. That may not give you a higher stature that you're thinking that educational qualification or that particular certification may give you, or that particular institute may be giving you. So be careful, because you may be misled by somebody who you think as a friend, even a romantic liaison, and because of which you end up taking a wrong decision, because Rahu is placed in the 5th house of romance and aspecting Mars in the 9th house. So you may even meet somebody at a workshop or in your institute, because of which you may fall for the person, but the person may not be good for you in the long run. And very soon, within months, you'll realize that the person may not be good for you, because the Mars also rules the 6th house and translating through the 9th house in aspect of Rahu. This is also important because Rahu's 7th aspect will be on the 3rd house, but its 8th aspect will be on the 4th house of domestic affairs. So this thing may lead, or you may contemplate, may take you into a decision where you may take a decision of wanting to be with them also long term or in a committed relationship. So be very, very careful how you take a decision, because Rahu's 4th aspect is on the Libra sign of relations, but in the 12th house of waste and excess. So taking a wrong decision long term may end up making you take a wrong decision in terms of your family, your domestic life. Also, some of you may need to travel far away from your homeland, because of which you may also miss family or be away from family for a long period of time, because Mars's 4th aspect is on the 12th house but in the sign of Libra. So going away from your home to a foreign land and missing home or affecting home. And because Mars's 7th aspect is on the 3rd house of short distance travel, so some of you may be gone but for a short duration also, or go for a short distance travel, but it may not give you the best fruits. Specifically, if you're going for some presentation or to get a project or to win some project, that may not be the best. So you need to plan very well. Any long-term plans for visas or even short duration plans may hit hiccups at the last moment, especially connected to the festival time or the New Year's period. So be careful of how you plan. So any long distance plan, any plan to connect it to assets, investments, money, stocks, selling stocks, take very careful due diligence before you make a decision, because Mars 4th aspect is on the 12th house of waste and excess. Now for Sagittarius rising sign people, Mars rules the 5th house and Mars also rules the 12th house, and Mars has gone in debilitation in the 8th house for suddenness, upheaval, challenges, problem. So on one hand, in a romantic liaison, in a romantic relationship, because of some sudden issues connected to emotion, anger, challenges, you take a wrong decision which becomes waste and excess, because Mars also rules the 12th house, but the Scorpio sign, which is also turbulence, upheavals, challenges, problems. And this is more important because Rahu's 5th aspect is on Mars from the 4th house. So being misled, because Rahu is also placed in the Pisces sign, so being misled, 12th Pisces sign also has the characteristics of the 12th house of waste of excess. So taking a decision which may not be the best for you, specifically connected to romantic liaison. But if you're planning to get married to the person, do your due diligence before you take your decision forward. If you're committed to the person but you want to propose, wait for a few more months before you take a decision. This is also important because Mars 7th aspect is on the 2nd house of income. So you may take a decision connected to change of career, because Mars rules the 5th house and the 5th house is the 8th to the 10th house. So you may take a decision connected to the change of career, hoping that it may help you in getting assets. You may even plan to go long distance away from your current role because you expect more money to come in, more savings to come in, better livelihood. But that may not be the case, because Mars 8th aspect is on the 3rd house of effort. So your efforts may not give you the fruits of labor. The 3rd house here has the Scorpio, has the Aquarius sign, which is also the 11th house of the Kalpurush Kundli, of wishes and desires coming through your effort, and those may not come good. This is also important because Mars 4th aspect is on the 11th house of wishes and desires, but in the sign of Libra. So in some relationship, you may take a decision either on the domestic front or in your romantic liaison or connected to career or work, and that may not give you good results later on in the long term for higher income or higher revenues, or even eat into your savings, because Mars also rules the 12th house of waste and excess. So be a little careful during this period. On the whole, this is still a decent period because Mars doesn't do too bad in the 8th house. It rules the 8th house on the Kalpurush Kundli. So as long as you are working hard, keeping your focus, doing your due diligence and taking a decision, thinking long term, this may not be such a bad period for you. For Capricorn rising sign people, Mars rules the 4th house and Mars also rules the 11th house of wishes and desires, on the 4th house of domestic life, assets. But Mars is placed in the 7th house and in the debilitation sign. So surely establishing your domestic house through a marital relationship, think hard. because Mars is getting into Manglik position in debilitation in the 7th house of relationship. And this is important because Rahu's 5th aspect is on Mars from Pisces sign, the 3rd house. So your effort connected to home, assets, investments, money may go to waste, or you may not take the right decision setting up your domestic life or setting up a committed relationship. This is also important because Mars 8th aspect of sudden transformation upheavals is on the 2nd house of income, savings. So you make a wrong pitch, you make a wrong decision connected to an interview, or if you are doing your own business, you make a wrong pitch, or you make a wrong marketing pitch to somebody who's in your partnership or who's a client, because of which your income suffers, your money suffers, or money coming in gets delayed because of this, and you get misled into taking a decision, being misled into a negotiation which may harm you in the long term, even in your connected to career. Why career? Because Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra, but the 10th house. So trusting somebody, trusting that you think you have a good relationship with them, good rapport with them, because of which you are misled into a decision connected to your career, which may end up not being as lucrative for you as you thought. So any career change that you do, think twice. This is also important because Mars 7th aspect is on the Lagna. So wrong decision making may suffer or put a stint into your stature or standing in society long term. So this is very important. So on the whole, anything which is connected to partnerships, relationship, working with people, connected to work, connected to income, connected to your domestic life, be very, very careful. Don't be misled. Don't take decisions in a hurry. Now for Aquarius rising sign people, Mars rules the 3rd house and Mars also rules the 10th house. So here the lot of effort and the lot of career is getting into the 6th house of service, but in debilitation. So effort connected to your career gets into debilitation, which means you may not get as much fruit of your labor as you're thinking you should get. You may not get as much appreciation as you think you deserve. You may not be acknowledged. So any promotion, any growth that you're expecting may be held up for some more time, at least for 4 or 5 months before you can repitch your promotions or your growth. So this is going to be slightly tricky period, definitely for the next 3 months. There may be higher work or more workload being given to you. Sometimes some people may also badmouth you in front of your supervisors, because of which the equations with the supervisors may go bad. So be very careful over the next 3 months. Don't get into any arguments with your superiors or authority figures, because this may not create the best situation for you. This may be challenging situation for you. One reason also is because not only because Mars rules the 3rd house of effort and it's going waste, because Mars 7th aspect is on the 12th house. So in terms of your service, your effort going to waste and excess. And because Rahu's 5th aspect is also on Mars from the 2nd house of income, so your income, your livelihood may also suffer because of a wrong decision taken in career, or being misled into taking a decision connected to career, because Mars also rules the 10th house. This is also important because Mars 8th aspect, the aspect of turbulations, suddenness, challenges, upheavals is on the Lagna. So you making a wrong decision, because of which your stature in society gets affected, your placement in society gets affected, your designations get affected connected to your career because of a wrong decision, because of being misled by a partner, a colleague, or somebody who's working below you, but may not mean the best for you. And this is also important because Mars 7th aspect is on the 12th house of waste of excess, but Mars 4th aspect is on the 9th house of high experiences. So if you have not learned from your experiences, the past experiences that you have had in that situation, in that equation connected to career, and if you still take the wrong decision because you think you have a good relationship with them. Why relationship? Because it is the Libra sign which Mars is aspecting with the 4th house. So you are assuming you have a good relationship with them, you are assuming you have a good rapport with them, you listen to them, you get misled by them, and you take a wrong decision which will long-term affect your career. Also taking a wrong decision in terms of long distance travel, or taking up a new workshop, or taking up a new degree may also be counterproductive. So be careful of where you put in the efforts, because Mars rules the 3rd house, and don't get too aggressive, don't be too emotional, and you may also in a fit of anger may blurt out or say something to competition or somebody with whom you don't have the best relationship, because of which your career may get affected, your reputation may get affected, how people see you at work may also get affected. So for Pisces rising sign people, Mars rules the second house and Mars also rules the ninth house. So the second house of income, livelihood, savings is under question, and Mars rulership of the ninth house, higher degrees, higher qualification, experiential learning is also under question. Long distance travel is under question because Mars is getting into the fifth house but in debilitation. So the income is getting debilitated in the fifth house, which is the 8th to the 10th house. So any change in career which you're contemplating, because of wanting to do well, you think twice, specifically if that requires you to go long distance or travel long distance or move far away from your current place of work or current residence also. Because in 3 months, Mars is going to retrograde back into Gemini before it gets direct again. So Mars in the fifth house, in the sign of change, may also mislead you into taking a decision, because Rahu's fifth aspect from the Lagna, from the Pisces sign, is on Mars. So being misled in terms of high education, being misled in terms of taking a decision in terms of getting high income or changing your job, or being misled in your romantic liaison because of somebody either filling your ears or saying something unkind to you or wrong thing to you about your romantic liaison, or misleading your romantic liaison against you may also create challenges. This is also important because Mars 7th aspect is on the 11th house of wishes and desires getting fulfilled, and Mars 4th aspect is on the sign of Libra but in the 8th house. So where relationships are concerned, Mars aggressive intent may create unnecessary challenges, tribulations, upheavals, because of which your wish and desire connected to your romance, connected to a change of career, may also get misled or go by the wayside. So be very careful. This is also important because Mars 8th aspect is on the 12th house of waste and excess. So effort going to waste and excess, because of which the livelihood suffers. Romantic liaison suffers. Some of you who are parents may also find that you are able to give less time to the children. So children's grades are affected. Long distance travel that you plan with children get affected because Mars also rules the ninth house of long distance travel. So grades, education of children may also take a back seat. So you may be even called for parent-teacher meetings. So sometimes if you're planning a holiday in the coming season, put some pressure on the children to get good scores, good grades, because they could end up not putting in enough effort and not be getting good grades. So you have enough time before the exams are upon children. Specifically, I'm talking about children in India, the Diwali holidays which are coming in the next month. Some people may even be planning to go long distance with their family members to foreign lands. So this is the right time to ask the children to to put in more efforts. In terms of the romantic liaison also, because Rahu is in the Pisces sign, but from the Lagna, your reputation may suffer because of you being misled or hearing wrong things about your partner and taking a decision. So be really careful here. So friends, now that we have talked about and we have concluded how Mars placement in the different houses in terms of its rulership of Scorpio and Aries sign while being placed in debilitation in Cancer sign will throw up different placements for you, different opportunities for you. Please take the time and understand what is the placement of Mars in your respective houses, in your respective horoscope, because that will also play its own flavor. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me with the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.